And just kind of get the equipment set up and let a few people pile in. It's usually a pretty quiet morning show these days. Um, any days. This is a brand new channel, really. We haven't advertised. We've just been kind of marketing to our own internal crowd. So, Algo Factory is who we are, and we help people become traders, and we help them build a trading method. An algorithm is just a trading method. It's not code, nothing like that, unless you want to, and we can help you put you on that path as well. Here is a QR code so you can come check us out. We're going to talk more later about who we are and what we do. We're actually going to jump into the content before we really get too far into that. But if you are interested in trading, and if you're interested in building a trading method, and even if you're interested in writing coding or having one coded for you so you can trade and walk away, go about your day, come check us out. There's the website right there, algofactory.tech, zap that QR code, and come see us. All right. Okay. So as I was saying earlier, today is going to be a pretty big day. And that's not going to be in these 30 minutes. It's going to be right after these 30 minutes. So our private Algo Factory members get, usually it's about once a week. Sometimes it's 3 times a month. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 times a month. Just depends. We get drips, and drips are it's a kind of a specialty where V the Gorilla comes in. He's with us every day for the private show, and he's with us for about at least half of these. Sometimes he'll come on every day. Other times he won't when he's really busy. For this first beginner live lab that's kind of intended more for people who are beginners, have beginner type questions. But he'll come in on these drip days at 9 EST. And what he will do is, look, the Gorilla does large deals around the world. He works with international billionaires, things like that. And he gets a lot of information as to what's actually happening in the market that's just simply not available elsewhere. And the information, it's not legally privileged, but he does kind of keep it under wraps for quite a while. He'll go ahead and talk about it on the Rogue channel, and he'll do that later, perhaps, a few weeks down the road or maybe a few months down the road. But while the information is fresh, he is kind of asked not to talk about it. But he will be able to talk about it with us. He has that kind of ability to do so. So he comes and tells us that. He tells us right after he gets it. So look, real quick, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do the like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all those things they always tell you to do on YouTube. Do that for me real quick, okay? Especially if you are enjoying this content. Again, we're giving this part of it away this first half hour. And if you are new to trading and you have questions, even if you're not an Algo Factory member, please feel free to ask. That's what this is all about. This is just to, like I say, it's just to help people who are new. Even if you're not a member, you can still ask questions and I will answer them, provided that, provided that it's okay for me to answer them. We don't give investment advice, so do keep that in mind. We just are talking about the nuts and bolts of trading, okay? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and paste this link up into the Rogue Discord. Join us live. Okay, so we are, as of 7 minutes ago, we got some data coming out into the market. I'm going to share the screen. We're going to take a look at the market itself and see how that data actually affected the market. So what we do is oftentimes, especially right about this time, say before the market open, which is in another hour, a little bit less than that, 53 minutes, or right at or after, just kind of around that market open, at least a day or two a week, and sometimes more, we get a lot of information that is economic data that gets put out by officialdom, right? Official sources. So what we do here is we'll oftentimes take a look at that data, and we might decipher it. A lot of people, what they try to do is they try to trade that data, right? So they know that, say, the Fed is going to, maybe raise interest rates, maybe not, like yesterday, and then they try to anticipate what's going to happen, and then they try to trade that. They try to say, okay, well, raising rates means that this is going to go up, so I'm going to bet on it going up, right? And that's what they do. And I say the word bet because that's gambling, because you don't know what they're going to say. Usually it's not very common that somebody knows what officialdom is going to say before they say it. Extremely uncommon. So people are mostly just kind of guessing. And it is not the way that I do things. However, once that is done, what I'll do is I will try to kind of ride that wave. I will look for price to more or less normalize. And if the news is big enough, it will take a direction. So, and if the news is not big enough, then what we can do is see, okay, it'll just resume the direction that it was going in, and the technical market will unfold. And we take advantage of that technical market because here we are technical traders. Okay. So, let's take a look here at the calendar. So I use, it's called, what is this thing called? Sorry. Forex Factory, right? Now, Forex Factory is a pretty good website. It's very concise, and you're looking at it now. So I'm going to refresh the screen because the data should already be out, because today was unemployment claims. And again, that was about 9 minutes ago. Okay, so unemployment claims were just slightly higher than normal, or I should say higher than expected. All right, so this 217 is red. The expected was 210. So we're having a slightly higher amount of unemployment claims. And it's the Fed meeting yesterday with Chairman Powell. Basically, he hinted a little dovishly, he hinted that we may, the rate hikes are doing what they're supposed to do. The economy is starting to, the inflation, I should say, is starting to slow down, which is going to be shown as the economy slowing down because our economy is based on inflation. And that was the whole idea of hiking interest rates, making money more expensive. When you make money more expensive, money is not going to places as quickly as it used to go, because pretty much our entire economy is based on debt. And when money is more expensive, when you hike rates, debt becomes harder to handle. The servicing of that debt becomes more expensive. And so less money is borrowed to invest into things, right? So everything's going to slow down. And yesterday's meeting, they did not hike the rates. And the discussion was around the fact that, or at least around the idea that the rates hikes have done their job, or at least are doing their job. So everybody is now kind of thinking, okay, well, the money is, not going to get more expensive. And so people are getting a little bit more optimistic about the market. There are a lot of, yesterday's market did show that, right? So as he was done talking, or at least while he was talking, the moves in the market will reflect that. Now, this USD unemployment claims is going to have a similar effect, although it's a weekly, that is a weekly metric. So basically weekly metrics are not going to be as strong as, say, like a monthly metric. Like we hear something once a week, it's not going to have as strong of an effect because it's going to be announced next week. So when you have something that gets announced once a month, like say the FOMC and the rate hikes, that's going to be much more powerful on the market. But let's take a look at, in this case, higher unemployment means that the market is going to conceptualize that as, okay, the rate hikes or the rate cuts may come sooner, right? That's how the market's going to look at that. So that means that dollar is going to be weaker. And so people are, going to sort of trade that, if you will. So like, for example, with the AUD USD, not a whole lot of action on that. I'm going to roll down to the 5-minute chart. So we're going to look at a chart where each of these candlesticks is 5 minutes worth of price action. And we're going to see if we can identify. It's not much of a move today. Market's pretty quiet today after yesterday's announcement. But you can see this right here at 6:30, this candle price just kind of, did some wildness as it usually does. And then now the Aussie dollar is bouncing up because the dollar is conceptually getting a little bit weaker. However, this move up is a very small move, and it doesn't appear that there's a lot of volatility, and that's to be expected. Unemployment claims is never a big announcement. It's just kind of one of those blips that you just, if unemployment claims jumps or drops in a very big way unexpectedly, then you can see a lot more movement. But today was pretty mild stuff. So I'm going to type something over to our private group. I just have to make a quick announcement. Just telling everybody that today is the drips, because we were supposed to have drips like, yesterday, and then the gorilla was getting more and more information, so he had to delay, and that's a good thing. Look, the information in the drips, right? Think of it this way. The information comes as it comes. Events happen as they happen. So events, they don't schedule themselves for you, right? So this is real-time stuff. So more information came in yesterday, right? So that means that because more information came in, the girl is like, well, instead of giving you half the information today and the rest next week, I'm just going to go ahead and give it all tomorrow, right? And that's today. So long story short, we're doing drips today, and that's that. All right, let me take a look in the chat, see if there are any questions. Okay. At any rate, we do, it looks like we also have one of our Algo Factory clients who is building an algorithm or two, and so basically he had some questions around that. All right. Well, what we'll do is in today's show in the private lab, if the grill is probably going to take up at least half the show with drips. So he said yesterday, he thinks it'll be about 30 minutes worth, which is a lot. You know, the drips themselves can be maybe 10 minutes. And then of course we analyze them for the rest of the show, or we analyze them for 30 minutes, whatever it is. But I think the information he's saying is going to take up half the show, which is actually pretty huge. So we'll go check that out when the time comes. But for now, let's see. Okay, it looks like we got a few people watching. Let's see here. Oh, good. We got a lot of viewers on our private show. That's good. Okay, well, if there are any charts that anybody wants to see, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and move over to Bitcoin really quick, because that is what people want to see, really. A lot of people are paying attention to that, of course, because Bitcoin is a place where there is volatility in a market that may not have as much. Let's see here. Relatively unaffected by any news today, this time. Going back to 1st November, you can see quite a bit of, that's, yesterday. You can see quite a bit of price action here. I'm going to roll to a higher time frame so we can take a look at this. Now, we looked at this yesterday. We did a lot on Bitcoin yesterday, and it did look as if price wanted to head up, and surely it has. It headed up yesterday and broke the highs. And what I said yesterday was that if price does break the highs and stay above it for, I don't know what I said, a few hours. Well, there was a break and a close on the daily. So I think that was my metric for, is Bitcoin going to go up? If there is this is basically the daily chart. And if there's a break and a close above the prior high on the daily chart, then chances are price will continue up. And that is what we're seeing. So with Bitcoin, price did break up, and it closed up, it closed on this blue candle right here, which is on the daily. And then now it seems to be continuing up. Let's see what the algos say. I know yesterday when I looked at the high time frame algos, they were bullish, and that's probably not going to change. Looking at, let's see here. The metrics are looking pretty bullish, even on the kind of midterm timeframes. But I'm going to panel this out. I'm going to look out on, I'm going to zoom out right now. Yeah, metrics are just pretty much bullish. That's just what it is right now. So price could easily continue to go up. I know the gorilla has this, the 3s and 8s is what he looks at. So when price hits 3s and price hits 8s, and I think he means that as something 8 or something 3, like 23, 28, 33, 38. Those are his, when it hits those, it should continue up. And that's not a theory I've tested, but he does work with pros besides me. And 38,000 is up here. Okay, so let's just kind of visualize that. And to bring this into perspective again on the daily, price hung out for most of, let me delete that. Most of September, August and early, I'd say August and September, it just hung out in the mid 25s. So price is kind of doing the whole Bart head thing from back in the day. And we're getting a bit of a short-term parabolic move. It's a nice move up, and I didn't expect price to head up here. And I don't expect it to keep heading up. I mean, it could, price could go up and we could be at the beginning of the bull. And, everything I'm seeing shows, at least the last time I looked at liquidity, we saw a lot of liquidity to the downside. And so that usually means that price is going to move towards that liquidity, but it won't happen until the chart favors a move down. So while the price keeps heading up and up, what we'll find is that liquidity will build below, and while price is heading down and down, liquidity will build up top usually. And if you look at price right now, I mean, if you look at this liquidity map right now that I just brought up, I mean, look at this right here. Price is now this green arrow at 35.4, and look at this liquidity, big chunk of liquidity at 34.8, huge chunk of liquidity sitting right at 34.8, and a decent chunk at 35, and some more all the way down to like 34,000. So price really has a lot of reason to just kind of knock right back down, and it's going to happen eventually, probably. Very, very high likelihood that it'll happen again. And where is that on the chart here? Well, that is right. So 34.8 down to 34,000. Basically, this kind of area, price right now is going to want to go down there. Now, here's the thing. The reason that this liquidity is in this area, why is it there? Well, because price went up, and so people went long, okay? People went ahead on the derivatives exchanges, and they entered a long position. So they're expecting price to go up, and they're going to take profit when it goes higher. Okay, and this happened on spot and derivative exchanges. Spot is just buying Bitcoin. Derivatives is contracts for Bitcoin, and that's kind of a whole nother conversation. But that's what they did. So this area, especially the top of this area, price is probably going to want to knock right back down there. And it may happen quickly. Doesn't mean it's going to keep going down. But there's a decent chance that price is going to like maybe dump down here. Now, what it does after here is going to depend on what the charts are favoring. If the charts favor a move up, then we may see, a move back up. And what will happen is as price comes down here, and it might do it rather violently, people are going to panic and they're going to go short. Okay. As a matter of fact, this could do like I just drew. It could slope up a little bit. It might just be flat and then head down. I mean, this could manifest in a lot of different ways. So what I'm drawing is just kind of an idea of how I think it'll go. But, and it could go higher. It could go up higher before it comes down. I mean, a lot of things can happen. But at some point, price likely is going to come down, especially towards the top of this thing. It may dig a little bit deeper right now. When this happens, what we'll do is we'll be looking at and I say when, that's an if, but if and when this happens, I'm going to be looking again at the liquidity profile over on the kingfisher.io. It's a great program. They don't pay me anything. I'm not what do you call it? I'm not any kind of, shill for them or anything like that. I'm not on their speed dial, but I am going to throw my referral link because you get a discount. So you go in the YouTube comments, you'll see where you can get a discount for the Kingfisher, and it's free. You spin a wheel, you get get these liquidity maps. Price tends to go towards these liquidity, right? And there's a lot of liquidity in the 20s all the way down to 20,000. A lot of it in the kind of the 23 area. And there's a really good chance, I think, that price will eventually make its way down to 23. We've talked about this exhaustively on these shows, so I don't think I need to go too far into it. But for the moment, right now, I don't think price is going to cross 38. I don't think it will. It could. Very well could. I mean, there's a lot of euphoria right now, though. There's a lot of people in crypto who are just thinking it's going to go up forever. And this is not the time in the 4-year cycle for that to happen. Crypto, based on Bitcoin's halving, has a 4-year cycle. Okay. And that 4-year cycle does not really begin in the bullish sense until probably July or August of next year. And that's a long time from now. The fundamentals of Bitcoin don't push price up until then. There's been a lot of talk about ETFs. Okay, so what? Let's just say the ETF news is real, because look, it might not be real. It could be that was fake news about BlackRock. I mean, the initial posts actually turned out to be fake last I checked. So maybe BlackRock isn't going to do it. Maybe BlackRock is going to do it. But you know what? I know someone said there were tickers. Okay, maybe there were tickers. But the fact is they haven't done it yet. And even when they do it, it's probably going to take them, unless they fast track it, it's going to take them a year or two before they even offer the products. So it's going to be probably a sell the news event. And at this point, I think that whatever has happened to cause this move up, which has been probably vastly a retail, not an institutional push, that's probably just going to deflate back down. And when it does, it'll probably go down, I think, to 23, maybe even lower. It can go as low as 15,000. I don't know that it will. That's not something that right now there's liquidity down at the low 20s, the very low 20s. But my range for how low price could go is from 15,000 all the way up to, say, 22. Anywhere in there. It could stop short, maybe around that 23, because there's a lot of liquidity right there. So I might want to change that range to, like, say, 23, 23.5. So that's just what I expect in Bitcoin. And that's the dealio. So I'm going to open it up to questions. I don't think there's anybody in the chat. God, I feel so lonely. Actually, no, there's a couple people watching. But if you have any questions, now is the time to ask, whether you are a YouTube audience member or you are in our private lab, which is where most of our watchers are right now, our viewers. Let me throw up this QR code really quick, right? So if you like this content, go over to this website. It's www.algofactory.tech. You can zap that QR code. Your phone will take you over there. And basically what we do, like I said before, is we help to build traders. We help to teach people the basics of trading. So if you've never traded anything in your life, you can come talk to us, and we have a video series that'll get you started. We can basically give you the basics, and we can even point you in the right direction. Hey, you can come on to our Telegram room. We're in there all the time. I'm oftentimes up all night trading, or not. But I'm pretty active on that Telegram. I'm there all the time. So you can always ask questions on there. And I'm myself or the Gorilla or even people in the community will be able to help you answer your questions, right? So for example, one of our members posted, they copied their algorithm that they're building, and they sent me a copy of it. And I'm going to, if there's time, despite the drips, I will go ahead and analyze that today. So that's the kind of stuff that we do in there. Or it might be somebody says, hey, I don't know how to use this software. How do you use this TradingView software? How do you get your chart to do this? What's a candlestick? Like, our website's going to answer some of that, but whatever it doesn't answer, we will be able to answer for you lifetime. And then of course, what happens is with this beginner show, people will ask me questions that are technical or basic, and I'll be able to just to have it, answer it on the show. That's what this show is actually for. This YouTube free to the public show is actually for people to come on and ask questions, whether you are a member or not. Now we have to prioritize our members. But if, like right now, it's kind of a quiet day, members aren't asking any questions. And now if that's the case, then if you are just out there in YouTube land, you can ask. You're not, like I said, we're very, very few watchers right now, very few viewers. But if you're watching this afterwards, then you can, there's that whole comment section. You can ask questions in that comment section, and I'll address them. Not a problem. And if it's a really good question that I think is going to help a lot of people, I'll design an entire show around it. So, or at least I'll make that the centerpiece of the show. So, all right. Well, we're getting towards the end. The grill's going to pop on at any moment. I'm going to start looking at the currency market. I think somebody actually in the, let me see. Somebody asked for some charts in the private. Let me see. A read on. Okay. This is from March. Let's take a look at Sol. Okay. Excuse me. We did Sol yesterday. So I'm not. If you want to have a read on Solana, then go to yesterday's show, and I actually think we did that in the private lab. So I'm not going to do that one, but he did want a look on Ethereum. Ethereum's just following Bitcoin at this point, right? So, like if the ETH BTC chart, if you compare those two, Ethereum is just not rising as fast as Bitcoin, right? So you're looking on like the daily chart here, and Ethereum is like falling off a cliff. So Bitcoin, all the money is flowing away from Ethereum into Bitcoin. That's what that means. So, and it's at this time, that's how that's working. Now, a lot of times Ethereum, like money will flow out of Ethereum into just fiat, just in a regular cash, right? and it'll flow from Bitcoin into regular cash. But the difference might be is that money is flowing out of Ethereum faster than it is out of Bitcoin, right? So there's a lot of ways to kind of look at that. But in this case, Ethereum is just weaker than Bitcoin. It's going to rise slower than Bitcoin. So if you were to choose between the two based on this price action, that's one thing to think about. But on the dollar value of Ethereum, now Ethereum tends to make a move first. So if Bitcoin has a big move up and then Bitcoin just gets stagnant and hangs out in one area for a while, Ethereum tends to be a first mover. And it has had a good, since like mid-October, it's had like a good run from 1500 to 1800. I mean, that's a good 20% move up. So don't get it twisted. I mean, that's good. But it's not as good as the move up's not as powerful as Bitcoin's was, right? I wouldn't look if Bitcoin stays calm for like a week, maybe two, then Ethereum might punch up, and it might punch up hard. I would not be surprised to see 2000 tested. So I'm gonna just run a quick metric here, and then we're gonna have to hop off. Yeah, Ray, that's because of the FOMC. So Ray in our private group talked about bonds and the dollar falling hard today, probably big opportunities for trading. Yeah, that's just because of the FOMC. You know, that's dovish talk. So markets are going to rise like we talked about earlier. To take a look at how I might consider what's going to happen with Ethereum, it's at a resistance right now. Price kind of made this big dump right here. Back in August, so it's going to have a hard time getting past 1870, which is this kind of top area, but it's approaching it, that's for sure. You know, it's looking hard at that. And using our fixed range tool, as soon as it decides to populate the data, we'll have a better look at that. What am I on Binance? What's going on with my fixed range? It's taking forever. All right, well, anyway, while that's calculating, we'll do Ethereum. I'm sorry, we'll do a fib tool. It's right at the 618 right now. So, you know, it may be, look, for Ethereum to continue up, Bitcoin has to calm down. I can tell you that. And it's being attracted to right where it is right now. So as price goes above where it is right now, it's going to have less and less fuel for that fire. And I'd say I wouldn't expect it. Look, without Bitcoin staying where it is in a very calm manner for like a week or two, I would not expect price to go past 1934. That's just no. If Bitcoin, you know, if Bitcoin does stay calm for like a while and hangs out in that kind of high area, then I would expect price to test 2000 and maybe even go above. There's another peak of structure right here, and that's at a 2100. So those are kind of your areas of resistance. You've got 1930, 2029, 85, and 2141. And before we flip over to the private lab, I will take a look at Ethereum's liquidity chart. Because most cryptos on derivative exchanges are going to be available on the Kingfisher. It's really, really a great application. Most of your liquidity with Ethereum is sitting at 1825 and kind of like this low 1600 area, right? Not a lot of liquidity above. So again, that doesn't change what I said about what I think about price, but we need to know that price will eventually want to, as long as this liquidity kind of map remains the same, price is going to be attracted to say 1820 and about the low 1600s. So 1820 and low 1600s. And then there, of course, which is kind of matching what the fixed range is saying. So this is pretty much where price is right now. It's like 1830. It's just right below, you know, so that means price is going to want to stay where it kind of was, or would we say the low 1600s, which also matches this fixed range, right? So price is pretty hard attracted to this area that I just mapped out that is basically matching our liquidity, our fixed range volume profile as well. So if the charts favor a move down, then it's going to probably want to head down to this area, right? So that's Ethereum. And oh, there looks like the grill is on. V came on just in time for us to flip over to the private show. So you want to give us that send off, bro?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it is time to switch over. Hey, listen, guys. Look, here's the deal. You're getting Algo Factory Tech Light over here. When I say light, I'm talking about you're getting a schmear. You ever go to New York City? You order yourself a nice everything toasted bagel. They don't give you a schmear of cream cheese. They get that thick, 1-inch thickness of delicious cream cheese. What we're doing here on this free live session is just a little schmear of what we do day in and day out on the most advanced, best trading academy on God's green earth, where we not only teach you how to trade, but teach you how to create the algorithms that can trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, depending on the markets where you're trading at. So if you want the full fat, you want the full-on toasted everything bagel with a wallop of cream cheese, New York City style, listen, algofactory.tech, scan that QR code, join us. With that being said, Cowboy, let's get into it.